Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're here with the reticulated pythons today. I spent a lot of time with my female retic over there. She's a puppy dog and she's always out roaming around with us. I wanted to spend some time today with the big male. He is a purple tiger, 15 foot, about 60 pounds, and it's a really awesome animal, but he's one that we don't get to spend a whole lot of time with. So we're going to take him out and talk about him a little bit when we come back on Intrepid Exotics. Do you have a natural love for animals? Then come along with us as we explore what it's like living with and caring for some of the most unique animals on the planet, our reptiles. Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. So I've put out a lot of videos really of working with my female Motley over there. When it comes to handling, there's really two different ways of doing it, two different methods of handling your snakes. It's either maintenance handling or it's handling for socialization. I've never really heard anybody really make that distinction, but if you think about it, the snakes that you interact with all the time, that's handling for socialization. If you've always got them out and you're just enjoying them, letting them enjoy the interaction and so forth, then it's all part of building those threads and helping to socialize the animals. Well, a lot of our snakes, once you get, if you've got some animals that are a little bit less sociable, a little bit less friendly, if you've got a big collection, maybe some of the ones that are tucked off in inconvenient places don't get as much attention. So when you do interact with them, you're taking them out strictly to clean their enclosures and things like that and put them back in. Well, we're going to clean his enclosure. And this is one of the animals that gets a lot of maintenance socialization, or a lot of maintenance handling rather. A lot of times he's really content to just kind of be left alone and to chill. So we'll go in there and pull him out, move him to clean his enclosure and so forth. But he doesn't get as much handling for socialization as some of the other snakes do. That's something we want to spend some time doing today. And of course, as you can see, I've got my snake hook handy here, and you're going to notice sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Just like anything else when you're handling your snakes, it's all situational. You don't go into it with a planning on doing something, because the second you do that, the snake's going to do something. It's going to exhibit a behavior that is different from what you planned on. So you're really, if you go in saying, okay, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. As soon as you open the enclosure, I don't know what's going to happen. He looks like he's kind of sleeping right now. He could not want to be messed with, turn around, run the other direction. He could start coming into food mode or something like that, and I could see him going on point, and I got to be really cognizant of that. Or he could just be, a puppy dog and come out and be curious and so forth. So we'll see if I'm right. Typically what happens with him, when I first wake him up, he has this habit of, he'll kind of startle himself awake and so forth, and he gets a little bit defensive as soon as I go in, and takes him a couple minutes, and then he'll finally, kind of start moving away, not wanting to be messed with. But he's got to get his house clean tonight anyway, so he's going to come out whether he wants to or not. And I always look, these guys are really sensitive, see, as soon as I take the lock off this enclosure, they can feel those vibrations. And look at his head in there right now. As soon as that thing came off, his head just shot out and he's staring at me. Now, a lot of times when I come down here, he'll be sitting next to the glass or something, and he doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention. He's just kind of there, and he's checking me out like, hey, how you doing? But as soon as he hears something opening up on this enclosure, like right now he's on point. And he's kind of wondering what's going on. And that's a good thing. It's going to be a good thing for this interaction, because I don't have to wake him up and startle him. I'm giving him plenty of time here to just kind of sit back and look at me and let his mind work a little bit. Just kind of see what's going on. Because the whole the whole key to a good interaction with your snake is the snake being comfortable. And how you do that is just by giving them plenty of time to process what's going on. Is that right, buddy? Hi. Doing okay? You doing okay, bud? I'm trying to keep this really casual. I really want him to come out a lot on his own volition this time. I don't want to spend a lot of time chasing him around his enclosure and whatnot. But this is one of the behaviors that you'll notice a lot of times too in snakes, where you do a lot more maintenance handling instead of handling for socialization. He's not really eager to come out and be handled a lot. So, and that's something here over the next couple months I'm going to kind of focus on with him. And it's okay, bud. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, and he's going to get a little bit uncomfortable with me disrupting his house. It's okay, buddy. Come on. Come on. It's okay. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Come on. There you go. Come on, come see me. Come on, come see me. And what I'm doing right now is the place where I want to grab him from, that 2 to 3 feet behind his head's laying on it right now. So I don't want to go in necessarily. You've got to be really careful around this first foot of their head, because snakes will instinctively get defensive if they feel anything coming up. And if your first contact is like this first foot or so, it can be a little tricky sometimes. But the spot where I want to get a hold of him, because I don't want to drag him by the tail, is the part that he's laying on right now. So we're just going to get him a little used to the idea of having my hands on him. There you go, buddy. Come on. Come on, Tigger. Come on, buddy. That's a good boy. Come on. Come on. He's going to want to run away. And we don't want him to run away. There you go. And this is always a tricky part. This first time where you start getting them out, the first minute or so, they're kind of getting their bearings. And if you're going to get one that's going to be a little bit defensive or something and maybe take a pop at you, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it in that first 15-30 seconds after their head comes out of the enclosure. There we go, bud. It's okay. Yeah, and this is one of the things that we talk about with our snakes being in modes. You can see how, if you really pay attention, you can see how their modes change if you're patient. And he's got a really solid grip on my leg right now. It's kind of hard to tell, really, if this looks like a 60-pound snake on the video or not. But I assure you, he's probably pushing 65 now. And I give him the summertime, he's going to be every bit of 70 pounds. And he is definitely a workout. You can see when I handle Monty, my female retic, she's really good about, latching on and, trying to support herself and things like that when we're interacting. But she's not a whole lot smaller than this guy. But there is definitely a huge difference between handling her and handling him. just that little bit of extra weight adds just enough muscle to make these guys really tiresome to work with. And this right here too is, if I had to compare this to anything, he's acting a lot right now same way my Florida king snake acts. It's all over the place. My Florida king snake weighs a couple ounces. You get 60 pounds of muscle that just wants to roam around, and you don't want him to roam too far. You really got your hands full. And you can see this is trademark retic behavior. These guys love to roam. As soon as he gets out of the enclosure, he just wants to take off. Yeah, that's a good boy. So we're gonna see who wears out first. Many times what happens is they'll get out, they'll struggle around for a little while. You know, part of it's them being uncomfortable, and part of it is them just being a little bit excited, getting ready to get out and play and explore and things like that. One of the things that can make handling these guys difficult is just that really basic principle that you don't restrain them, because I assure you that if I tried to restrain him and he started to feel threatened, he would have no bones about turning around and letting me know. So I'm going to go ahead and throw him in his tub real quick so I can get his enclosure cleaned. And then we'll come back and talk about him some more. Try and get him calmed down a little bit. Now before I get him back out and the wrestling match begins again, for those of you that hadn't seen how I've got my enclosure set up, this is, I mean, of everything I've seen, I think this is the best way to do it. You're going to notice this is a basking platform. There's a couple ways to do it. I've got mine freestanding right here. You know, you can anchor it to the back of the enclosure. Put a little slip ledge on it back there so you can just set it in and it'll stay in place and whatnot. I just choose to keep mine free. What this does is I've got a 140 watt radiant heat panel up here on top, and when we talk about snake enclosures we always talk about temperature gradient. So of course if you look at the back wall there, I think you can see it, that piece of aluminum tape, which is awesome for enclosures if you haven't used it before. This stuff stays forever. It's thin enough where you can scrape over it. It's great to use, especially on melamine. If you get a scratch in a melamine, then the water will infiltrate that and it'll start to swell. Just take a piece, you know, clean it off really well and throw a piece of that aluminum tape over it. It'll keep the water out of it, and that tape's thin enough and it adheres well enough, it'll just stay there forever. It doesn't peel up. It's really good. It's really great stuff. It's been a long week. I'm coming off of about a 30-hour straight run. Anyway, so I keep my temperature probe right there. And what that does is I set that to his basking temperature. So between 85 and 90 degrees. I tend to go a little bit on the cooler side. And you'll notice too, anytime that I come through here, most of the time my snakes are always on the other side. Especially my retic. He really loves the cool side of the enclosure. You know, if I've got his basking spot up here set to 85, that's what temperature it is at the temperature probe. Now you go up a few inches to where the top of his body is, it's going to be even warmer than that, you know, right around 90 degrees, if not a little bit more. Now he'll spend a lot of time up here when he's basking, but if you go directly under here, it's a little bit insulated because the heat's got to go through this, so the temperature is a little bit lower on the bottom, and you've got a nice cool side down on the other end. So I think this setup gives them the best temperature gradient, and with your reticulated pythons, they will use it on a regular basis. Like I said, there's a lot of times I'll come up, see him completely curled up on his basking platform, and then, you know, he tucks himself all the way on the other side on the cool end of the enclosure when he wants to. Just a little tip for when you're building them. I think it gives a little bit better environment for him. Now I'm going to get him out of the box here in a second. We're going to hang out with him for a little while longer and see if I can get him to kind of mellow out a little bit and just hang out with me. Like I said, spend some of that time socializing him instead of just maintenance handling where I'm disrupting him and putting him in a box and putting him back in the enclosure and so forth. Alright. Come on, Tig. Easy does it, buddy. Let's just hang out a minute. There we go. Okay. And notice too how I've only got one side over my shoulder because I know you can't see it. He's got a tight grip right here. Like I said, he's not trying to be mean, but if he had that kind of a grip all the way around my neck, we would have a problem because it doesn't take much to put you out with something like that. All right, buddy. Now this is a really good illustration too. I mean, you guys see the effort that I'm exerting dealing with this guy, and you know, you guys need to realize this is not a big reticulated python. This is a yeah, I'd say average at best. This guy's only 60 pounds, and I've worked with retics that have weighed over 200 pounds. And you know, if this guy was to wrap up on me, I'd have my hands full. I guess he's tired of wrestling, so he's gonna go home. Whew. And I'm over here sweating bullets. But he's got a clean house now. And I'm perfectly okay with giving him a break from me because I need a break from him. But you can see, you know, if you're looking at getting, you know, you see these gorgeous morphs that come out, little reticulated pythons and so forth, and you know, you really got to be ready to, you know, after a few years, you're gonna have something like this or bigger on your hands. He's a male, so he's not probably gonna get as big as my female over there, but he's a workout, and he's by no means as big as they get. You know, you get a snake that's 150 pounds, you have so got your hands full, especially with these guys, the way they want to run around like a 2-year-old all the time. Yeah, you're gonna be wrestling a snake. And you can see old Tigger's back on his basking platform. He is, I'll tell you what, man, you know, you can say whatever you want about reticulated pythons, but the ones that I've got here, I love these guys. They're so awesome. They're so interactive. You know, they know me, they trust me, and I always have the best experiences with these animals. I really can't wait until my female, I hope she gets up 18, 20 foot, just turns into a massive snake, because, you know, the relationships that you can build with these guys and the intellect that they've got, is really just amazing. So I'm going to jump off of here for now. You guys have an outstanding night. Like, get subscribed to the channel, and we will see you next time on Intrepid Exotics.